Reacher creator Lee Child explains Neagley's expanded role in the series. Although Reacher is a one-man band, the show has been bolstered by the presence of additional characters to bounce off Alan Ritchson's turkey-fisted vigilante, and none has made more of an impact than Maria Sten's Sergeant Frances Neagley, who will return for the upcoming third season. Neagley is portrayed in the series as Reacher's closest confidant, the one he goes to if he needs answers. But that's not the case in Lee Child's novels, so why is Neagley so much more involved in the TV series? There is a tacit acknowledgement that Reacher is a lone wolf and a very internalized figure. That's something you can get away with in a series of novels. But internal monologues are hard to do if you want to keep the audience engaged in a visual medium, so the best thing to do is to have a Basil exposition character, which is where Neagley comes in. Although the character isn't a regular in the novels and doesn't even appear in Killing Floor, upon which the first season was based. Child, speaking with Empire, expanded on the reasons behind it. In what order are the Reacher books adapted? As for the ordering of the series, it kicked off with Killing Floor as the basis for the first season, which was the first book. But then Season 2 was suddenly Book 7. There's a reason for that too. The Reacher novels can be read in any order to a point without a great deal of further knowledge. The logic behind that decision-making came down to something simple: building Reacher out as a character and adding depth to the big ol' beefcake. There was no reason to do them in order, Child says. We had massive discussions about it. The thinking went like this. Killing Floor introduces Reacher as a person. So which book shows his professional life and what he did while he was in the army? The result was Bad Luck and Trouble. Reacher streams on Prime Video. Production of the third season is currently underway in Toronto. The world of Jack Reacher is one where justice is often a personal matter, delivered by a towering ex-military police officer with a code of honor and a knack for solving problems with his fists as much as his intellect. Lee Child's best-selling novels have captured readers' imaginations for years, and the character of Jack Reacher, with his nomadic lifestyle and unshakable sense of right and wrong, has become an iconic figure in modern crime fiction. But beyond Reacher himself, another character has slowly but surely carved out a space in the hearts of fans: Sergeant Frances Neagley, Reacher's old colleague from his days in the military police. With the Reacher TV series on Amazon, fans were introduced to a more prominent role for Neagley than they had seen in the novels, and it left many wondering, why? Why now? In interviews, Reacher's creator Lee Child has shared his thoughts on why Frances Neagley was given an expanded role in the adaptation and what it means for the future of both the series and the character. A long-standing relationship, Neagley first appeared in the Jack Reacher series in Without Fail, the sixth book, and quickly made an impression. She and Reacher share a history from their days in the military police, and though they are both highly capable on their own, together they make a formidable team. There's a camaraderie, a mutual respect, and a platonic bond between the two characters that feels natural. Neagley, with her sharp tactical mind and unflinching confidence, was a perfect match for Reacher's brute force and instinctual problem-solving. Child has often mentioned in interviews that Reacher is fundamentally a lone wolf, a character who prefers to operate independently. However, the relationship with Neagley adds an interesting dynamic to Reacher's world. In the books, she comes and goes, appearing in some novels while being absent from others. But when she does show up, she serves as a grounding influence, a reminder of Reacher's past and his ability to function as part of a team, even if he no longer seeks one out. In the television series, this dynamic was pushed further, with Neagley stepping out from the periphery and into a more central role. It was a conscious decision, one that Child himself supported, as he explained in interviews. Adapting to a visual medium, Child has acknowledged that writing novels and creating a television series are two very different processes. What works on the page doesn't always translate seamlessly to the screen. In the novels, Reacher's internal monologue and solitary nature can be explored in depth, but television requires a more external approach. Viewers need to see action, relationships, and interaction between characters to stay engaged. When asked about the decision to give Neagley a bigger part, Child explained that Neagley's character provides a perfect counterbalance to Reacher. In the books, Reacher often operates alone, but in a television series, it's harder to sustain viewer interest with a singular, solitary protagonist. The introduction of a strong secondary character, especially one with Neagley's military background and shared history with Reacher, allows for richer storytelling. She was always a great character to begin with, Child said in an interview. What I love about Neagley is that she's very much her own person, very strong, very self-sufficient. In many ways, she's like Reacher, but with a few differences that make her unique and vital to the story. Those differences are part of what makes Neagley such an interesting foil to Reacher. Where Reacher tends to barrel through obstacles using his size and sheer force of will, Neagley is more tactical, more measured. She's also the one person who can call Reacher out when necessary, offering a perspective that others either wouldn't dare to give or wouldn't be able to see. This dynamic allows the audience to see Reacher from another angle through the eyes of someone who knows him well and isn't intimidated by him. A different kind of heroine. One of the most intriguing aspects of Neagley's expanded role is how it challenges the traditional portrayal of female characters in action-centric stories. Neagley is not a love interest, nor is she a damsel in distress. She's a soldier and equal to Reacher, and in many ways, just as tough, if not tougher. The decision to amplify her presence in the TV series taps into a growing demand for more complex, empowered female characters in action narratives. Child spoke about the importance of portraying women like Neagley in his work. She's not there to be saved, she's there to get the jobs done, he said. That's always been her appeal. She's professional, she's competent, and she's not afraid to take the lead when necessary. In a genre that often leans on tropes of male heroes saving women, Neagley stands apart as someone who doesn't need saving. Her expanded role in the series, according to Child, was a natural progression of her character, a reflection of the fact that audiences are ready for action heroines who are just as capable, if not more so, than their male counterparts. Pushing Reacher to evolve, perhaps one of the most fascinating aspects of Neagley's expanded role is the way it affects Reacher's character. While Reacher is the star of the show, the inclusion of Neagley forces him to evolve, even if subtly. As Child explained, having Neagley around means that Reacher can't operate in complete isolation. He has to communicate, collaborate, and occasionally defer to her expertise. This dynamic allows the audience to see a more rounded version of Reacher, someone who is willing to listen and even on rare occasions take advice. Child has always portrayed Reacher as someone who is supremely confident, but Neagley adds layers to his character. She reminds him of who he was when he was still part of something larger, a time when he had to rely on others. This brings a level of introspection to Reacher that might not have been as easily conveyed without her presence. In the series, viewers get to see a side of Reacher that is sometimes more vulnerable, more reflective, and that's largely because of Neagley. Looking forward as Reacher continues to gain momentum, both as a television series and with the continued popularity of the books, Neagley's role seems poised to expand even further. Lee Child has hinted that Neagley's involvement will deepen in future seasons, suggesting that her unique partnership with Reacher will become a staple of the show. She's a crucial part of his past, and it makes sense for her to be part of his present, too, Child said. The audience loves her, and so do I. She's one of those characters that, the more you use her, the more you realize how valuable she is.